Welcome to Underqualified and Over It. I am your host, Alice, and joining me as always is Cindy.
Hello.
In this podcast, we are over-opinionated and unfortunately allowed to talk. So sit back, lower your expectations, and let's get into this.
I smacked the fuck out of my knee just now when I was rushing to try and get my coffee and sit down so that we can have a conversation and I just banged the fuck out of my knee and it's still sore. And I also only had half a cup of coffee left in my coffee pot, so it's half coffee and half water. So it's just watered down coffee because I wanted a full cup. And so I make my coffee relatively strong, so it should be okay. It's just weak man's version of coffee, in my opinion. But
fair enough.
How are you?
Pretty good. So we were talking beforehand about how the people that have uteruses deal with our uteruses.
Indeed, we were. And I was like, that would make a good small talk, so let's start recording.
So I was saying
where are we going to overshare if not on the podcast with our one or two listeners?
Yeah, so I was saying how listeners? A regular thing for at least me is when you have discharge and it could be any amount of it and it kind of gets stuck to your hair and then you move and then you just get loads of hair ripped out of you when you've moved and it feels like you're getting waxed. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, I used to go get waxed all the time, and then I was like, I have better things to spend my money on, actually, on second thought. But yeah, no, I couldn't tell you because, and this is why being diagnosed with PCOS has been such a fucking game changer for me, because I don't have normal periods. I have never had normal periods since I hit puberty. It has never been something that has it never occurred to me because I was also playing sports. And when you're a girl and you're playing sports and you don't have your period, people are like, oh, you must just be training really hard and your body has nothing to lose. No, turns out I have had a hormonal imbalance since I was 13 years old when it all started. And so when you're talking about normal discharges, including periods and things like that, I couldn't tell you what's normal and what's not.
Yeah. Sorry, you just reminded me that I need to ring the doctors tomorrow to get my implant out.
And you looking at your phone just reminded me that here in about 15 minutes, my cats are going to go berserk because it's their feeding time and my alarm's going to go off. So if that happens, we'll cut to commercial.
Yeah, because I've had if you've been listening for a little while now, you'll know that we've had the hormonal talk already at some point, and mine is terrible. Mine was terrible. I had so much pain and everything, and being sick and stuff because I get symptoms of being pregnant when I'm on my period. And
God, that sounds like
yeah, it sucks. So most of the time I'm not able to do anything. If I've not got this, if I've not got the implant, or I'm not on any precautionative measures or anything. But the thing is, I've been on the jab, and the jab, so the Depo-Provera jab was fantastic for me because it stopped them completely. But the thing is, it also stopped my sex drive.
Jabs are shots, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So shots, vaccines are all called jabs here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just making sure.
So I had that and it messed my sex drive up.
Yeah.
And I came off of that. I can't take the pill because I forget.
Yeah.
Because of the ADHD. Even if I've got an alarm on my phone, I forget. and it's not good enough.
With pills, like with cats, it's like I can have an alarm on my phone and it works just fine. But when it's pills or something like that, what'll happen is I'll be in the middle of doing something, right? I'll be out doing like shopping, or
Yeah.
I'll be away from my medication and my alarm goes off. Turn off the alarm. It's like, oh well, I need to remember to do that when I get home. Get home, unpack the groceries, and go to bed. Like,
Yeah. You forget. And
Mhm.
then I went to the doctors when I was going to get this in. But first off, I'd been to a doctor and I went to see a male doctor because they were the only one available. So he turned.
For everyone wondering, she's pointing to her arm and she's talking about Nexplanon, the implant in her arm.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I have the implant. I keep forgetting. So yeah, I before I got the implant done, I went to see the doctors. I talked to a male doctor because they were the only one available at that time for me to actually visit, and
Yay.
he suggested that I go on the coil.
What?
Bearing in mind that I haven't had children yet.
Isn't that like super dangerous?
I mean, possibly. So
I
booked
don't
the
know much about
appointment.
it, to be
Booked
totally
the
honest.
appointment. Got the coil because I had to take that thing home, and that thing had to sit in my house for 3 weeks until I went to the doctor's appointment to get it put in me. How weird is that?
That's fucking
It
strange.
was the weirdest thing that I've ever had to do. I was like, surely not. Surely I turn up to the appointment and then they have it there. No. I had to go to the pharmacy and pick it up and take it home. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, went to go and get it
Put in
applied.
there.
Yeah. And the lady was this was this was a lady doctor that then saw me for this. And she was like, "Oh, I'm surprised that they've suggested this to you because you've not had children, but I'm going to do it anyway."
What?
And she said, first off, I just need to measure to see if it will actually go in there." And
Okay.
that was the most painful thing I have ever experienced.
Was getting the coil put in or the measuring?
No, the measuring.
Ugh.
It was horrendous. Oh, I screamed the place down. It was amazing that nobody came in to see if I was being, like, unalived. Seriously. And then she was like, okay, fair enough. She sat me down and she was like, well, clearly that's not right for you. And she was like, I knew that it wasn't going to be right. I was like, well, why didn't you convince me not to do it then? You silly woman. And then she said, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll get you an appointment to have the implant put in instead. And I said, yeah, that's fine. So I did that. That was no problem. That was my mum came with me to get my implant put in, and all they did is they lay me down. They jabbed me with the anaesthetic, and I didn't feel a thing. And my mum sat there going, "Oh, that's really interesting. I've wondered how they put that in because I'm sat there going, aren't you a nurse?" She was like, "Yeah, but not that kind of nurse." She was like, "Oh, it's very clever." It's like, there's a big needle. I'm like, Mum, please. I've not got a problem with needles. It's just I don't like seeing things go into my own skin.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way where it's like I don't mind watching, like, if it's happening to somebody else. When it's happening to me, I'm just kind of like, I can look at it, right? But I can't watch the initial bit of it going in. I can look at it once it's in, right? So, like,
Yeah.
if you're getting like an IV or something, like I can lift my hand and I can look at the IV and I can, you know, it doesn't bother me once it's in, and it doesn't bother me when I see blood coming out of it, like if I'm getting my blood drawn, but like I cannot watch it going in. That's the only thing.
See, it's really funny. My dad absolutely cannot stand blood. He
Really?
goes down like a sack of spuds. It's so funny.
Man. I
He's like, "Ugh."
I have never met anybody in real life who has that weak of a stomach. I don't think I've ever met anybody like in real life or ever been in a situation where I've been next to somebody who is squeamish or bad with needles or any of that. Like I've never, other than like kids, right? So like I've gone with friends, like their kids have to get like their jabs. And so, go with them to go do that or whatever. But I've never actually like been in a physical like interaction with an adult human who's had issues with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So next time your dad's going to be in a position where he has to see blood, put me in the room because I want to see it.
It's really funny because he's so accident prone.
Oh
And I
God.
used to be very accident prone. I'm okay now. I say I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
To be quite honest, I haven't really broken anything. I think the only thing I've broken is my nose.
I mean, to be fair, you haven't been injured since I've known
No,
you. Like
no, and
you
I
haven't like
haven't been
fallen.
injured throughout my life, really. Like cuts and scrapes and stuff. I mean, when I was a kid, I stepped on a rusty nail once, and I've got a nice scar on the bottom of my foot
You
that
too?
looks like a mole
I
because the
don't
rust's
have
still in there.
I don't have oh God. I don't have a scar from it, but I also stepped on a rusty nail when I was a kid and it went all the way through my foot and my mom freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, so I've got a scar on the bottom where it went in, but not on the top. It's so funny because I had my luckily I'd had my tetanus jab,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, where it's gone, where it went through, the it's looks like there's a mole on the bottom of my foot. It's not a mole. It's where the rust's at.
I
It's
have
really cool.
kind of a similar thing. So when we were like growing up, we had this like um our school was a very small private Christian school that my mom ran. And we were in the upstairs of this church that was letting us use the space for free. And if you guys could see the facial expressions that are coming off of this bitch right now, but they had
Sorry,
like
I'm
because
pulling really funny faces.
they had like youth group and stuff up there, and it was like, of course, it was because it was a church. It was all like hand me down couches and stuff because all the kids got the comfortable couches upstairs, blah blah blah, whatever. So we would use those during the school day. And one of the pranks that we thought was hilarious as like fucking what, like 10, 12-year-old kids, we thought it was absolutely hilarious if we took pencils and put them up through the cushions because they were old cushions that had like really loose weave and stuff because these were like old couches. And we would take these sharp pencils and we would put them up and wait for somebody to sit on them. And I was unlucky and I sat on one. And so I do have a scar similar to that, only it looks like it doesn't look like a mole because it's not like rusty colored. It looks like a blackhead that's been buried because it's lead that's in my leg.
And is it on your butt?
It's very close to my butt. But it's like my upper thigh, back upper thigh. And then we were like, "Oh, hey, this is a horrible idea," and we stopped doing it.
I mean, that's the way that you learn not to do things, is
Yeah.
by doing the thing and then getting, like, caught by the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Craziness.
My my stepdad, he, back in the day, because he's, I don't know, 60 odd. So, back in the, like, 50s? 60s?
What are you trying to say? When he was born?
Wait, yeah, I'm really bad at maths.
He would have been in 65, he would have been in 60s.
Yeah, so, like, in the 70s, when he was a kid and
Mhm.
everything, like, teenager and stuff, him and his brother used to go out, and this is, like, the health and safety of the UK back in the day. They had 2 rifles. Just, like, chilling out as kids, running around shooting stuff, like squirrels and all sorts of
Like a
stuff.
baby gun?
Yeah. but a bit heavier.
What is it called?
It's a 2.2 rifle. It's an air rifle, basically. But it was a pump action.
2.2 rifle.
Yeah. But it was back in the day, so they were like kids' toys. Back in the day, they used to have flipping lab experiment things with blooming uranium in them.
Sorry. I'm trying to find this.
So anyway,
rifle. It looks like a BB gun.
Yeah, but it's got metal pellets.
Yeah,
rather than plastic. Oh, okay, fairs.
Yeah, that's a BB gun. Okay, so an air rifle has plastic, but a BB gun has metal. That's what we call it.
Oh, right, it's BB gun then. Yeah, so they
had...
For
Americans, it's a BB gun.
Yeah, so they had rifle BB guns.
Right, okay. Yeah, and, I had one of those when I was a kid.
My stepdad shot his brother out of a tree.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And he fell out of the tree and knocked himself out at the bottom.
Oh,
my stepdad then went home.
God.
My grandma turned around and went, "Oh, where's your brother?" He's like, "Oh, he's just having a nap under the tree." And he'd left him knocked out underneath the tree.
The fuck? That's... Oh my God. No, I mean, I had a BB gun when I was growing up, and I definitely shot my brother with it. Like, once or twice. But it was never, like...
I think he must have, like, caught him off guard. Like, he was trying to climb up, and he lost his balance.
So, basically, the way that a BB gun, to what I understand... I, again, don't know this for sure. I know what it felt like whenever I was doing it. It basically, when you're pumping it, the more you pump it, the more compressed air goes into the chamber, so the faster it will push the BB out. So the more you pump it, the more likely it is to hurt something, or like higher velocity it comes out. So when I would shoot my brother with it, I would pump it like twice. And so there wouldn't be like hardly anything in there. It would just like almost be like an air rifle kind of, and then not even break the skin, kind of bounce off.
Yeah.
But if you pumped that thing until you couldn't pump it anymore, you could take out a squirrel. But Jesus. We growing up around guns knew better than to do something like that. You know, like we would never pump it like that and then aim it at somebody that like walking around. You know, we would never aim it toward the house. We were taught from a very young age, like how to handle guns and how to handle yourself around guns. So, but the fact that he left him there unconscious is crazy. That's the type of shit you don't think about as like a kid. Is like, yeah, he could have had a concussion and then immediately like gone to sleep and like had a brain bleed and like all this different stuff that you're like, now you're like, oh yeah. That's horrible. Oh, yeah. Horrible things could have happened. Turns out it was fine.
The first time he told us that story, that is exactly how we reacted. We were like, "What the heck? He could have died. He was fine."
Yeah. No, my dad has some crazy stories
different back then. Yeah, you were. Jesus.
My dad and my uncle, growing up, they grew up out in a ranch out in the West, so they have all sorts of crazy stories like that as well. Where it's like, because my dad and my uncle grew up on a ranch out west, they have all sorts of stuff. And my dad, being an engineer now, he was a fucking smart kid. Like, he took my grandma's blender because they didn't have air conditioning. He took her blender and made himself a fan out of it to strap it to the bottom of his bunk bed or something. And he put like wings on it and used her blender to create airflow for himself.
That's
my
genius.
Dad built an electric chair and they got the neighbor kid to sit down on it. My dad was a creative. Nah, he was fine. He lived. It was fine. it was like basically, so in a lot of ranches and stuff like that, you have like electric wire for your cattle.
Electric
because it
what?
was a cattle ranch.
Electric what?
War. Yeah.
Wire. For us
War.
English people.
War. But he took like the electric war and he connected it to a metal chair, like a metal folding chair, and then tricked one of the neighbor kids to sit down on it. But what he did, what the devious part was, is my uncle was in on it. And so my uncle sat down on it to prove to the kid that there was nothing wrong with it. Once my uncle stood up, my dad flipped the switch on, and then the neighbor kids sat down. They were diabolical. And of course, you could never get away with shit like that nowadays. But
oh my god,
so funny. Like definitely
you do realize that when we eventually get to your parents' house in America, that I am going to ask your dad to just tell me loads of stories, right?
Oh yeah, no, ask him about we there's a name for it. It is lore in our family. It's called the Evil Brother Stories.
Yeah.
Because my dad, being the sweet, innocent, kind, nerdy, small, sweet younger brother, who's actually the mastermind behind everything, but we never talk about that. And the big, evil, mean, rude, bully, evil brother, which is my uncle, who is usually, I mean, they were just brothers just going at it back and forth. But yeah, no, ask my dad when we go visit. Ask him about the evil brother stories, and I'm
just gonna walk up to him and go, Dad, evil brother stories?
Will you tell me about the evil brother stories? And then he will sit there and he will talk himself into a circle, and it will be an entire, especially if you get like a couple of wines in him, he will make it a production.
Yeah, because I'm just adopting your father as my new father now.
You're like, I don't have enough fathers. I'm like, Pokemon, gotta catch them all.
I have two. Might as well have three. I mean, I've got loads of mums.
Yeah.
Like, I have so many mums.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just because, like, my mum's friends, like, a lot of people call them, like, aunties. I'm just like, nah, that's my extra mum.
Yeah.
That's my extra mum. Because I was around them for so long.
I feel like I don't have that because, ironically, other than my mom, there are a few that I can think of, but I didn't really have like strong
female role models.
Yeah, like they were mostly just Christian Karens. Like I'm not saying that to be like rude or anything, but that's like literally what they were. They were just like holier than thou, like talking down to you kind of type people who were very, very judgmental. So I didn't have a whole lot of good role models. And it was hard for my mom as well, because my mom is like the sweetest person you've ever met. Like when you meet her, you'll understand. She has a heart of gold, and she really, you can have like a good conversation with her, and she is able to agree to disagree and walk away from it and still be friends. Like,
even though I'm a dirty heathen.
Yeah, pretty much. But like she'll sit there and she'll talk to you about it. She'll like ask questions, and she'll be like, why do you believe what you believe? Like, she won't breathe down your neck. She'll just be like, I believe something different, and that's okay. Like,
and I'll be like, that's absolutely fine. You have every right to believe what you believe.
She will invite you to church, and then when you say no, she will respect it, and she'll be like, okay, we'll see you when we get back. Like, it's not.
I will burn.
What?
Oh no, I'm one of those people that I'm really bad at saying no when people are just like, oh yeah, would you like to come this place with us? And I'm like, I feel obligated to do that, so I'm gonna do that. Okay.
You don't have to do that. That's just the people pleaser and you coming out.
Yeah, I know.
Like, my family, the thing is like, I feel that way with my family, where like, if they invite me to go to church with them, it's more of a like, I really wish you would come. Like, please come with me. Like, you're our daughter. We want you to see people. We want you to meet people, blah, 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 whatever. And like, there is a certain level of obligation because I did get married in that church, and they did let me get married there for free, which was very, very sweet of them. And there are people in the church that like are really cool that I do want to talk to. But when my family invites me to go to church, it's more of a, you need to come and you need to see everybody, and we really wish you would be there. They will ask 2 or 3 times. and you can still say no, and they will be visibly disappointed, but they will leave without me and they will go to church. However, when it comes to people outside the family, it's like, do you want to come to church with us? I'm like, nah. And it's like, okay, well, Cindy's coming with us. We'll see ya. It's like, there's no pressure for other people outside the family, but when it comes to like family members, it's like, you need to come to church. It's like,
yeah, because it'll end up being that the case of it's just a coincidence, but I'll sit down in the church and the whatever the fuck. Yeah, the preacher will stand up and go, the devil is with us today. And then everybody turns around and looks at me because I'm the only one that's new. And I'm just like...
No, I mean, the thing that's nice about my family's church, like back home, is that they're like what you would expect a church to be. Like what a church is supposed to be kind of thing. Like they have outreach programs. They like, you know, that thing that was going around on TikTok where this like girl was like calling different churches because she had a child out of wedlock and she needed help. Like that was her shtick, and that like I don't think she actually had a kid, but she was just calling to see like what the availability, like what kind of help the churches would be. This would be the type of church that would offer help. Like,
oh, that's good.
They have a drug rehabilitation program, like because there's a lot of people suffering from like drug abuse and addiction. And so they have like an outreach program for that. They have a smoke pit before church starts, so people will stand around in a circle and smoke cigarettes before walking into church service. They have like food drives that they do for people who are impoverished, like things that you would expect a church to do, which most churches don't do nowadays. They actually are doing. Like,
oh, that's really good.
Yeah, and it's
good on them.
It's very refreshing to see a church not only talk the talk but walk the walk kind of thing. Yeah. So anyway, this has become a religious episode. Oh man.
Yeah, so you had some questions for me like after the last episode, because or the last episode that I hosted. Because we got into the housing kind of situation and stuff like that over here, and we were talking about how things kind of work.
Why are they building houses? Like, are these like houses that you were talking about last episode? The houses that they are building, the new construction and things like that. One, where's the money coming from? Two, are they like government ran operations?
No,
they're like private
firms.
Corporations. Okay.
They're private corporations that have a lot of money because in certain areas they have built housing areas, and then they've gone, oh look, I'm going to buy a piece of land and I'm going to build a crap ton of houses, and then I'm going to sell all of those houses. And in quite a lot of places they do sell those houses because especially where we are in the countryside, they're selling those houses because a lot of people want to come out to the country and get away from the city. But the thing is, what's happening now is they're not building the infrastructure for those buildings. And I really think that it should be a law that if you are a private company that are building houses to be like built in a certain area, then they need to have a doctor's surgery, a school, at least a primary school, and some shops, so that there is the availability for the people that are living in that place that are going to be moving there to, number one, have jobs, number two, have education for their children, and number three, be able to get the healthcare that they need.
That's another question I have, is why is it so hard for people to find a job here? Like, why is finding a job so difficult?
So, a lot of the time, it's really difficult to say because a lot of people are hang on a second, I'm trying to figure out how to word this.
Is it, and because I'm a rude American, I can say it the way that I want to say it. Is it because people genuinely just don't want to do any work? Like, they don't want to do the type of work that they are qualified or the type of jobs that are available. Like, they don't want to go work at McDonald's flipping burgers because they think they're like above that kind of thing.
Partially, yes, but quite a lot of the time, no. So we have an issue in this country where quite a lot of bottom rung kind of jobs, like your bog standard basic first steps on the ladder job, that job is requiring you to have a certain amount of years experience in, like, say, retail or hospitality or wherever you go, and you need a certain amount of years experience. And if you don't have that experience, you can't go for that job.
Right.
There's no point in applying. And even if you do apply, they're going to look at your CV and go, nope.
CV is a resume for all of my Americans. I said a CV is a resume for all of my Americans.
Oh. And then you've also got the fact of, even though it is law to not discriminate against people within the workplace, whether you be a woman, whether you be disabled, whether you be a certain race or anything like that, as soon as you put down on anything within the catchment process of applying for jobs, because quite a lot of these jobs are all automated now in the applying system.
Yeah. Like
what'll happen is they'll have automatic flags on certain things for that job that system will point out, and then they'll put your application straight in the bin.
Right. Okay.
So they are illegally discriminating against people because of the way that they are running these things. I actually wrote to my MP about this. Hang on.
What's an MP? That was another question I had.
An MP.
Marshal Provocateur.
Member of Parliament.
Oh, I was close.
So it's your town's representative of the parliamentary party that has the most seats in that area. So my parliamentary person, yeah. So my parliamentary person is from Labour.
Ugh.
Is my parliament? Yeah, we have.
I hear Labour is not the greatest. I hear mixed reviews.
There are mixed reviews. Hang on, let me get this email up.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Labour is kind of like ultra liberal, right?
I don't know, because I don't really completely understand it myself.
When I hear Labour, the thing that kind of goes through my mind is people wanting handouts is pretty much what I get from Labour. Every time it's described to me, it sounds like people that just want handouts.
Yeah, so what?
Which could be incorrect. I have no idea. Not from here. So don't
so
come for me.
Labour used to be, from what I've gathered from like history and reading books and all of that, Labour used to be the political party that was for the working man. That's why they were called Labour.
Yeah, it's called Labour.
Because
that's what I've heard as
well. They were meant to be for the working man. And
basically like union kind of thing.
Yeah. And then they, somewhere along the lines, it just got a little bit not.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's gone from being like standing up for the people who are working really hard to standing up for the people who don't want to work ever. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
I don't even think they're doing that. To be
I
honest.
have no idea. I have no context, so I have no idea.
So anyway, back to I have a problem because obviously I'm out here looking for jobs as well at the moment. And I've been applying for jobs, and quite a lot of the big companies do these questionnaires that are personality questionnaires, really.
Yeah.
And I've had enough of them because somebody of a neurodivergent brain will look at those questions and say something, and they don't have enough variation to be able to answer those questions. It's literally this or this, and they might not be able to go either way. They need something in the middle to explain why they would do that thing, but they don't get that chance. It's either yes or no, and they need the, well, what about maybe? So I wrote an email to my MP and I said, I'm writing to raise concerns regarding the increasing use of personality and behavioural questionnaires in job application processes, and to express my belief that these assessments are creating an unfair and inaccessible barrier to employment for many people in the UK. Bearing in mind that most companies do say that if you get in touch with them, that they will give you a accessible version.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't know whether you need an accessible version until you're about halfway through one of these questionnaires. And by the time you've said yes to doing the questionnaire, it's too late to get the accessible, because they turn around and go, oh, but you said you want to do the questionnaire, so we're not going to give you the accessible now.
Yeah.
And then I put, this issue is not hypothetical. I have personally encountered these questionnaires while applying for companies, including Asda, and I'm aware that similar assessments have been used by other large employers across the retail sector, including the Co-op, Tesco, B&M do it. Quite a lot of retail brands do these. Next also did it as well. As part of these applications, I was required to complete most true, least true questionnaires containing statements such as, I can understand how other people feel in different situations. It takes a lot to cause me to express anger. I do well in situations where no clear instruction is given. It's easy for me to stay polite even when people are being rude. I adapt well to different situations. I find it easy to understand the attitudes and feelings of other people. These are all taken directly from the Asda questionnaire, because I had it up while I was writing this email, because I was in the middle of the questionnaire.
Yeah.
When I turned around and went, no, this isn't on. My MP then, after a good while, thought, busy man, MP and all of that, wrote back, thank you for taking the time to write and for outlining your concerns about the growing use of personality and behavioural questionnaires in recruitment processes. I appreciate the clarity of your experience, and I recognise the importance of ensuring that application systems remain fair, accessible, and fully compliant with equality legislation. You raise significant points about the potential for these assessments to create unintended barriers for disabled and neurodivergent applicants. It is essential that recruitment practices do not indirectly disadvantage any group, and the issues you have highlighted warrant careful review. Right? So he's agreed to all of what I've said, right? Then he goes on to say, while I appreciate the concerns you have raised, it is important to note that the decisions about whether to use personality or behavioural questionnaires ultimately sits with the organisation, provided they comply with equality and employment law. Most employers are also applicants to Most employers also offer applicants the opportunity to disclose disabilities or neurodivergent conditions. Yes, they do say to disclose them, but the thing is, they are all I can tell you the vast majority of the ones that I apply for, and I say I have ADHD and autism, where I have disabilities. I have either had no, we don't want you, or they've ghosted me. I've got nothing back. If I don't put those on my thingy, if I don't put them on the application, I'll get a reply back. So it says most employers offer applicants the opportunity to disclose at the outset of their application, with the option to request reasonable adjustments. Yeah, but they don't make it very clear that those reasonable adjustments are available.
Right.
These mechanisms are intended to ensure that candidates who may find certain assessments challenging can be offered alternate formats or support. Although this does not remove all barriers, it does mean that employers are expected to consider adjustments on a case-by-case basis rather than apply a one-size-fits-all approach. So basically, he's agreed with every single thing that I have said, right? But he's turned around and just said, nah, it's null and void, mate. But the thing is...
He basically just took your email and regurgitated it back at you and said, I acknowledge what you're saying.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Basically, yeah.
He said nothing. He said nothing. He said, here's your email. I've read your email. I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah. So I said, make this not available. Make them not do it. Make it a law that they can't do these personality tests.
Mm-hmm.
He said, not going to do that. It's up to them.
Yeah. No, because it is a hard thing to... And this is the thing, right? When you have these big corporations like Asda, like Morrison's, like all of these different companies, right? They have the manpower and the time to find loopholes in laws. And that's exactly what they will do. That's where they spend their energy. Because, like, it's the same thing as why rich people do creative taxes. Because they can. Because that's what they spend their time and energy doing, because they have enough money to where they can. Like, it is... I understand where he's coming from. Of, like, their private corporation, they can do whatever measures they deem necessary because they technically are not breaking any laws by doing this. And I get where you're coming from, where it's like they are making it more difficult than it needs to be, but they're doing that intentionally.
Yeah, but it's also the fact of you as a government are complaining that people aren't getting into jobs. I have just handed you one of the main reasons why people are not getting jobs. Fix it. And he's gone,
do you think that that's a...
We're not going to do that.
That's a major reason why people aren't working? I know that it's a factor into your work life, but do you think that the British population as a whole, that is the main reason that's holding them back from being able to get into work?
I think it's one of the main reasons, because people are being discriminated against. Because if you think about it statistically now, there are more people being diagnosed as neurodivergent than there were back in the day, because people now understand those neurodivergencies. It's not because, suddenly everyone's decided, I'm neurodivergent. It's like, no, we've always had neurodivergencies. I'm sorry, but most people's granddads liked collecting coins or stamps or going and looking at trains.
Right. Like, it's
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it's also, you have to think about during that day and age, like, people may not have been diagnosed, but they also were still having to do the work. Like, that's the thing. And I think that, like, I think it's kind of a difficult balance, right? Because you have a level of understanding because of the chemical imbalances in somebody's brain, or the hormonal imbalances. However, at the same time, you also have this, what I refer to as toxic validation. where people are like, your feelings are valid, how you're feeling is valid, how you're feeling is valid. And people have taken the diagnosing and they've taken the toxic validation and they've created this whole victimhood of, I can't do this, 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 and this because I have this, this, and this. Whereas people have had that diagnosis for a long time, whether they were diagnosed with it or not, by whether or not it was ever put into writing on a piece of paper by a doctor that says you have this diagnosis. People still had difficulty recognizing how to read social interactions. People were still, because they couldn't read the expression, like the facial expressions and things like that. Like, people still had that, but they also still had to go in and do the work. Whereas now it's this mindset of, I can't do the work because I can't be facing the public because I don't know how to read social, like, facial expressions. It's like, that's not true.
I see from that point as well. But also the fact of as well is, back in the day of people's granddads going to work, they could get a job because they didn't have the diagnosis. So they were just like, oh yeah, it's normal for me to just go out and get a job. That's normality. And they didn't turn up and be like, oh yeah, by the way, I've got this, 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 and this because I know I have that. And then the job was just like, the job didn't go, oh no, we don't want you because we don't want that. We don't want to deal with that. A lot of the time, especially for neurodivergent people trying to find jobs, it is them trying to find a job and them struggling in that job because of their neurodivergency. Or if, like, say for instance with me, and obviously I can only say my own experiences.
I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
If you get a job with them not knowing that you have these diagnoses, and then they hire you on, and then you tell them that you have these diagnoses, like, could you be penalized for not disclosing it?
I don't think so, because I have done before.
Right, okay.
Like, because no, you don't actually have to tell them anything. Legally, you don't have to tell them.
Because HIPAA.
Yes. Legally,
right. Okay.
You do not have to tell them anything if you don't want to, because that's your own thingy. Especially if you don't think that that's going to affect you. Especially, say for instance, that I was going for a 8 to 16 hour job a week, right? I know that I can handle that amount of work, right? But if that job, because it's a 0 hours contract, then suddenly decide that they are upping my hours and laying more and more work on me, and I can't handle that amount of work, even though I have said to them at the get-go, I can only do 15 hours worth of work, and then they're piling on more, and then I suddenly turn around and go, listen, the reason why I can't do this amount of work is because I have this. And I can't regulate myself at home. And I need a work-life balance that's going to give me structure and this and that and the other. And when you're throwing shifts at me, I can't deal with that. I've had that in the past. And I've had to step up and be like, listen, I can't do it. And that's what's ultimately brought me to quit jobs, because they're expecting too much of me when I'm on a 0 hours contract. And a lot of times, people will no longer, when they're searching through the advertisements for job advertisements, if it says 0 hours contracts, a lot of people are getting smarter now and realizing what 0 hours contracts mean. And they're not applying for those jobs because 0 hours contracts will mess you up, because they can put on as many hours as they want and take as many hours as they want off you. Like, they don't, on a 0 hours contract, they don't have to give you any hours.
Right.
And I think it's disgusting. I think that's another thing. I think 0 hours contracts need eradicating. I don't even know when they came into play. When did they start? Ah, right, okay. So 0 hours contracts in the UK first entered the public debate in 2013. Although the government did put out legislation to protect workers on these contracts in 2017, but I have been on 0 hours contracts since 2017 where I have been exploited within it because I've say for instance I've needed the extra money. And I've gone, yeah, I'll pick up a shift. Yeah, I'll pick up this shift. Yes, I'll pick up this shift because I've needed the money. And then as soon as I've said, oh, right, okay, I need to drop these shifts now because I'm okay now. They go, no, you're going to keep those shifts because we can't cover anymore because we've just sacked this person. We've got rid of that person or this person's quit. The amount of jobs that I have worked at that have got high turnover because the bosses will work people to death.
See, and the thing that is important for situations like that specifically is to, and maybe this is just because, like, in America, you're taught from the get-go to watch your own back. I don't know if maybe that's something you just don't learn as well over here. Again, I'm not from here. I don't know. But everything in writing, everything in writing. So if you need to pick up extra shifts, you email your manager and you say, hey, I'd like to pick up some extra shifts temporarily. Would that be okay? I can pick up shifts between this time and this time. Make sure they email you back.
Yeah.
If they don't email you back, you email them back just to cover what we discussed.
Yeah.
I'll be picking up shifts temporarily from XYZ. And like you have everything in writing. That way, when you're like, I'm going to drop these shifts now. They'd be like, no, you can't drop the shifts. You'd be like, yes, I can, because I told you I was taking them temporarily and I have it in writing.
Yeah, see, that's what's happening now is people our age, so the elder millennials and onwards, like millennials and onwards to Gen Z now that are looking for jobs, we now have got to that point where we're so sick of being treated the way that that previous generations have been treated in the workplace, that we now look up our rights within the workplace. And we read our contracts and we find out exactly what is going on. It's like when people were doing the whole quiet quitting thing. And quiet quitting was literally, they did what was in their contract. They didn't do any more. They didn't do any less. They did what was on their contract.
Yeah.
That's not quiet quitting. That's doing your friggin' job.
Yeah. Malicious compliance being like, you don't go above and beyond. Because usually when I'm working in a workplace, I like to work hard. I like to go above and beyond. I like to do things outside of my actual work scope. However, at the same time, if a company's treating me like shit, I will drop that back to doing what I'm being paid to do, which is exactly my job title, and that's it.
But also another thing is the back in the day, like of our parents' generation and their parents' generation, back then they had risk and reward in jobs. So if you were doing a really good job, you got a bonus, or you got a well done, thank you very much, we appreciate you for what you're doing. Instead, now we're getting punished for doing a good job. Instead of, oh yeah, you're doing such a good job, here's your bonus, whatever. It's, oh yeah, you're doing such a good job. You're doing such a good job that person's quit. So we're going to make you work even more and give you all of their shift. And we're not going to hire a new person.
No, there was this girl that I used to work with, and she was fantastic at her job. She was great at multitasking. She was very, 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 very good. Like, she was working as a like behind the desk assistant kind of thing. And she was doing like enough work for like 4 or 5 people. She was putting training materials together. She was teaching people. She was doing her job. She was doing a lot. And she kept messaging about how like she was like trying to, like she was tired and all this different stuff. And me and the other doctors working there, me and the doctors, because I'm not a doctor. I don't know why I said the other doctors, because I'm not a doctor. I'm just a fucking guy, dude. But like we would tell her stop doing so much. You're not going to get paid more. The company is not going to pay you more for how much more you're working than everybody else. All it's going to do is leave you with resentment and bitterness. So you need to cut back. And she was young. She was like 19, 20. She's not been in the workforce for very long, but she was very good at what she was doing. And so she was like, they were putting her in other offices that like she couldn't like get to because she didn't drive and like things like that, where it's just like she just didn't have the ability to keep up with everything, and they kept asking for more and more and more. But were they upping her pay? No, they weren't. So me and the doctors were like, you need to stop. You need to cut back and just do what you are being told to do. Stop doing extra stuff because you're never going to get paid for it. And the moment that you ask for it, they're going to fire you.
See, over here it's completely different because of the different generations before us having the whole thing of, like, say for instance, like my granddad's era, right? Mm-hmm. They would go to work, they would do the extra stuff, and at the end of the month, my granddad got a watch for it. Like, here you go.
Yeah.
Well done. We're praising
Thank you for giving us 25 years of your life. Here's a watch.
Yeah. But they'd get extra stuff. They'd get extra money for doing more, whereas we don't get that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they turn around and go, oh, but you did get extra money because you did these extra shifts. So those extra shifts on top of your regular shifts, that's extra money for you. Yeah. It's the same amount of money for more work.
Yeah. I just worked more. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And
that's crazy.
But also, it's like the older generations. It's like, oh, well, such and such. I fought in a war. It was really bad though in those days. We had to go to war. We're going to war now, my guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
History is just repeating itself.
War does not go anywhere. I hate to break it to you guys, but war has been around for a very long time, and it will continue to be around as long as humans walk the earth, because we all tend to have this like huge disagreement with each other and stuff. And so I don't know why everybody thinks like, oh, it was so much harder. It's the cycle, right? It's the hard times create hard men, who create easy times, who create weak men, who create hard times, and it just goes in a circle.
I'm sorry, but the millennials have been going through hard time after hard time after hard time.
The cycle is every 80 years.
Yeah, this is an 8-year cycle, my darling. We've had what we had. We lived through 9/11.
Yeah.
Then we had
each time is 80 years.
Oh,
so we're in the 80 years cycle of hard times.
We had 9/11. We had the war in Iraq. We had COVID.
Well, we've had Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. I'm not good at geography. Okay.
Well, no, it was Iraq and Afghanistan.
Oh, it was
the war on terrorism.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we've had multiple wars. We've had flipping COVID. We've also had Russia trying to do stuff with Ukraine.
Yeah, Russia, Ukraine.
We've now got flipping
Israel, Gaza.
Israel and
Palestine.
Gaza and everywhere over there going off at the minute. We've gone through recessions. We've gone through so much stress. And the thing is, we've been going like this. We've been going up and down with our stress levels. I'm doing the thing with my arm, and then I realized I've got to speak it. She's thinking it's a visual
medium, guys. Oh my god!
So we've been going up and down in the way that like house prices have been going up and down, and food prices have been going up and down. We don't know what our left to our right at the minute. We don't know what's going to go on, and that we have been on the edge of like the cliff for so long that we can't regulate ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So no wonder there's more people that are neurodivergent that are coming out, because and there's also people with like mental health problems. We have more mental health problems than the previous generation and the previous generation before them, because of how much stress that we've been under, because we've had to take on so much stuff. Is there any wonder?
Well, and we're kind of getting way over time here, but
Sorry.
this is one of the things that I think is really important because here in the UK, it's not as prominent in the US. Yes, we have officials that are leading the country in maybe a way that you disagree with or whatever, but at least like we can like vote people out and things like that. I'm not sure exactly how it works here. I know that there are voting systems. I know that there are like people who are in control, people in power. You have the House of Lords and shit. Like it's like the same structure but different. There's a lot of things that we took in the US, like the state representatives and then the House of Representatives, House of Commons, blah blah blah. Um I understand that there are some parallels between them. However, it feels like here in the UK, and we might have to cut this because we're probably going to have to Google whether you can say it or not because freedom of speech is kind of a gray line here. Um, it seems like the UK government is just against you. Like it seems like the UK government genuinely hates its people. And I don't know if you're allowed to say that. I don't even know if we can put that in. It may just be a censored out section that people aren't going to know what I'm talking about because if we post it, I might go to prison kind of thing. But that's how it feels, right? That doesn't mean like it's necessarily fact. It's not necessarily the way that it is, but that's how it feels living here. But that's a topic for a different time.
This has been Underqualified and Over It.
If you made it this far, that's on you.
We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.